Yay!
So. She here? She upstairs? I think she's asleep.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. My camera's on this side. It's on the left side, so I'm kind of confused. I'm on this damn iPad. Maybe I can switch it around because I'm not a left-handed girly, so.
Okay. There you go.
Let's try that. I'm losing it.
Oh, I love it. I love how authentic we are. I love every bit. I'm serious. Like, I just be sitting here, like, I'd be like, man, I wish we had like better production quality and blah, blah. And then shit like this happens, and I'm like, I just love how authentic we are.
This is authenticity, man. Hey, it is really here. This is really us. But they're gonna be listening to you, so that's okay. I'm just here.
I know it's my turn this week.
Yes. So, tell the people what.
I don't think y'all understand. I don't like hearing myself talk. It seems like I do. I just be really excited, but I really hate hearing myself talk on the playback. Just so you know. So anytime I can get to not talk, I'm so with it. But it's my turn. She didn't carry 2 weeks.
No, you did Bride. We switched it off.
So that's right. I did do Bride.
Yeah, we've been even. We've been even. And
all right. So we're doing Curse of Chucky, which is such a good movie, and like it's the first movie that went to DVD, which I think is unfortunate because this would did really well in the theaters.
Yeah, because the budget was actually
lower.
It was really low because it was in like one location.
They only got $5 million for this one because people were so disappointed in Seed.
Yeah.
So this is more of like, it's not really a reboot. It's more of like like I said, in the caption I put a tonal shift because it shifted from the comedy back to like the tension. It's definitely a haunted house movie. Get that feel from it. And this is where we get introduced to Brad Dourif's daughter, Nica.
Yes.
She plays Nica Pierce, which I think was just she's a fabulous addition. I will say that about Child's Play. When they add characters, they mean something.
Yeah.
So I was excited when I found out that Fiona Dourif was Brad Dourif's daughter.
Yeah. So and I feel like rightfully so. She's like this has been her life too. Like,
yeah, she's a legacy. And I found out that she actually auditioned to be Brenda, the sister character.
Okay.
But she had done a movie previously where she played someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So Don was like, no, you need to be Nica. And that's how that whole thing happened because they had to be in the wheelchair the whole movie. So this movie came out August 2nd, 2013 at the Fantasia Festival. And then it was on video on demand September 24th, 2013. And then DVD October 8th, 2013. And it's 96 minutes and the budget was $5 million. So I feel like just to even start it off is that you get to this house and it's a big ass, it's a very gothic-y mansion.
Yeah. And it's very dark too.
Yeah. You meet Nica and her mom, Sarah. And Sarah's painting sunflowers and Nica is in a wheelchair. She's paraplegic and they get a package delivered to them. And it's cute because while Nika's getting the package, the delivery guy is like flirting with her.
Yeah.
But she's trying to read the cues and she kind of gets excited about it. Yeah. And then when her mom comes, she's like, oh, Nica, he was just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell like the mom doesn't let Nica socialize. You can just tell that within like the first 5 minutes.
Right.
That Nica can't even pick up on like, because Nica used to go to college. The delivery guy mentions like, I've seen you on campus and she quit. So, Nica is kind of housebound. So, because she's so close to her mom. But they open this package and it's a good guy doll. And they have no idea where it came from. Of course. And Sarah's mom throws that shit in the trash. Immediately.
Yeah.
Right. And then that night, Nica hears her mom screaming. And we find that Sarah has been stabbed in the stomach with scissors. And then you get that beautiful pan shot to Chucky, and like that, it's like that 360 shot, of the house of what's going on that night. And then you see Chucky in the chair, and the title card pops up.
Yes.
And I was like, "Ooh, I'm excited!" And I remember watching this movie at home alone. It was my first apartment. It was just me and the boys after my breakup, and I was terrified. So I was like, I rented it and everything. I was on it. And then we like get to everyone coming to the house, right, for the funeral. So her sister Barb shows up with her husband Ian and their nanny Jill and their daughter Alice.
Yep.
Right, and then the priest Father Frank. So pretty much, you can tell her and her sister don't get along at all.
Oh yeah.
Like Barb is like a high acidity bitch.
Yeah,
she kind of got left behind.
Woo, yeah, Barb definitely was giving off bitcher vibes.
Right, and the Father Frank is coming to say, you know, your mother was a member of our church and just giving his condolences. But Barb is like, you know, we're just so concerned about you being in this house all by yourself with your condition. And you also find out that Nica has a heart condition as well that could kill her if she gets too stressed or overwhelmed.
Right.
And she makes it like she's so concerned. Yeah. When in actuality, she just wants to sell the house.
Yeah, she's trying to dump her off into a what can't really
assisted living.
Yeah, like she's trying to dump her off in home.
Yeah. And they want to sell the house for the money because, you know, they need the money.
It's about the money. It's always about the money.
And Barb says, I mean, for God's sakes, we might have to send Alice to public school.
Right.
Like she's so like she played it so well. And I found out that the woman that portrays Barb actually is a legacy within herself because her father was a costumer on part 2.
Okay.
And she's also one of the random extras. She's not on camera, but she's just walking around in the background of part 3 in the carnival scene.
Oh, okay.
So she's known down for a long time as well.
Yeah. You know,
and
take care of his people.
And she plays the lady in white in Insidious.
Oh.
Yes. So Barb in her own right, you know, she's a great character. Not the bride, but the other lady with the white dress.
Screaming lady, right?
That's Barb.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
And then we get this, we meet Alice, and she's this sweet little naive girl, and you get the feeling that Ian and Jill have something going on. Like you can kind of feel the tension between those three because Ian does not like Barb. That's his wife. He can't stand her. Like you can tell he's totally there for the kid.
Yeah.
Because when Nica's pleading her case, Ian's like, I fully support Nica. I think she can handle it. Yeah. And Barb is not like, nobody cares what you think.
Yeah.
But Alice goes to the bathroom. And the score and the direction, like Diamond City was in his bag in this movie. Like this is his second movie that he directed. Yeah. And it's interesting because the studio, which they dropped from like Universal to Universal, like was it Universal? It's a 1440 Entertainment. So they switched them to their smaller production company.
Okay.
Because they didn't really believe in the project. And David Kirshner, who's still the producer, they were trying to convince him to get another director. And this was around the time that all those reboots happened, like Freddy, Michael, Halloween, like in that 5-year span, Jason, all of them had been rebooted.
I think, what was it, that new Friday the 13th movie too?
Yeah. So 2010 was Friday the 13th. 2010 was 2009 was Friday the 13th. 2010 was Freddy, and then Rob Zombie was like 2008. So they really wanted a new director, and David Kirshner was like, no. So they let Don do it anyway, and I think he was in his bag. Like, this is his best directed movie to date for me. Mm-hmm. But you get to the bathroom, and Allison's going pee, and it's like the most tense scene. And those shots of just going around the room, you're biting your nails because you know something's going to happen. And then the camera comes back to her, and she like finishes, but Chucky's in the shower. Mm-hmm. And she pulls the curtain back and she screams, and everybody runs to the bathroom, and she's holding him. She's like, look what I found. And Nica's like, yeah, you can have him. It's totally fine. I'm glad you found him. But I wonder, did she put him in the bathroom?
Right.
Because it's never addressed if she put him in the bathroom or not.
Yeah, he was just walking around, I guess. Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought he was just walking around.
So Nika's pleading her case, and she's like, you know what? I can prove to you that I can take care of myself because I'm going to make dinner. Mm-hmm. And, Beth's like, I don't eat meat. And she's like, that's why it's vegetarian, dumbass. Yeah. So her and Allison are in the kitchen, and they're chopping up the food. Like I said, it's just so beautifully shot. Like even the chopping of the tomatoes looked amazing. Yeah. And they make the chili, and they're going to set the table. And you have this overhead shot of the table in all 6 of the place settings. And while this is happening, Chucky is putting rat poison. You just see a little hand. You don't see Chucky like kind of in the original. You don't really see him too much until like halfway through, but he gets the rat poison and he puts it in one of the chili bowls. Mm-hmm. And then you get that shot of them all sitting at the table, and it looks like Russian roulette.
It did. It really did. Because we don't know. We know one is poison, so it's like, which one is it?
And they have these close-ups of their mouths as everyone's taking a bite. Mm-hmm. And everyone around the table alludes to something being wrong with the chili. So, like, Ian says, man, something about this chili. And Nica's like, what are you talking about? And he says, it's delicious. Yeah. Alice takes a bite, and she says, this tastes funny. It's kind of grainy. But the dinner is dead silent. No one has anything to say to each other. Mm-hmm. But everyone's eating. And Father Frank starts perspiring very hard. Yeah. Very hard. And he excuses himself because he's not feeling well, and he decides to leave. You find out later, because everyone's clearing the table and everything, but then you cut to this scene of this car just wrecked. And there's two, I never noticed until I watched it again, but there was two people already on the ground.
Yes.
So two people are dead too. Yep. Right, that he hit. And Father Frank's neck is caught between some shrapnel. And the sheriff walks up and the deputy, and they're like, oh, it's, he's obviously been drinking. And he goes, no, he runs AA. This man does not drink. Right. So he's trying to talk to him, and, he's just pretty much making peace with the situation. And they remove it, and his whole head just falls off.
Oh, and woo, this one thing I will say, this movie was bloody.
Which I thought was such an interesting take on it, because you're expecting him to drop dead from the poison, but yet he dies because he's not coherent because of the poison in a car accident.
Right. Ugh.
Which, like, this is Chucky's first kill that he caused but wasn't hands-on with, which I thought was very interesting.
And did you notice that before Father Frank left, like they had a shot of Chucky, like his eyes, like he want to have a front row seat.
Seeing his pupils dilate so much was very refreshing.
Yes. Oh, so good. Because it's
so refreshing.
He was ready to see. He wanted to see somebody drop dead.
Right.
And he got cheated out of it.
He did. But we're back at the house, and they're looking at old home movies, and they're seeing their parents. Their father was deceased as well, before Nica was born. Mm-hmm. But Barb is a few years older than her. So they're looking at these old home movies, and they see this guy in the background that they don't recognize. Mm-hmm. And it's Charles Lee Ray. Now, it's funny seeing Brad Dourif in like a wig.
Yes.
Because at this point in the game, it's been like 25 years. So he visibly looks older.
He is. They tried.
They tried with, and this was CGI was starting to tweak with de-aging. So it's not bad, but it's definitely recognizable.
Oh, yeah.
But Charles Lee Ray is in the background, and like he walks up to them and everything like that. So they're trying to figure out who this guy is, but they can't really figure it out. But everybody has to go to bed. And Allison wants Chucky. Nanny Jill goes and looks for Chucky, and as she's looking for Chucky, Barb rolls up on her, and you're thinking they're going to have a confrontation, but in fact, they are the ones having the affair.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I kind of was expecting, because she was the babysitter. So I was expecting the babysitter and her husband to have something.
Right, but no, it's Barb, and they're in the kitchen just like making out. Mm-hmm. And Barb's telling her, everything's going to be okay once I get Nica to sell this house, and I can divorce Ian, and we'll have this money, and everything will be okay.
Mm-hmm. She had a plan. I will say Barb had a plan.
Right. So Alice tells Barb before she goes to sleep that Chucky told her about death and dying and things like that. So Barb is kind of creeped out, but she's not the most active parent, so she really doesn't care.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, she kind of calms her down and puts her to sleep.
Yeah, shoots her real quick.
Nica's on the internet looking up the doll. Mm-hmm. Right. And all the Easter eggs pop up. You see the Andy, all the articles. And she sees Charles Lee Ray. Mm. And it clicks for her that something just ain't right. That's too coincidental.
Right.
Right. So as she is searching further, At this point in time, Jill and Barb are about to have like Skype sex, and Barb is right in the bed next to Ian. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she did not give a damn.
She played him so bad.
Man.
But they're like video calling each other, and Jill's in her lingerie, and Barb's excited. But she happens to see something run behind Jill, and she doesn't know what it is.
Yep.
So it's been raining, and it's an old house. It's leaking. There's a bucket full of water. Chucky's behind to the right of Jill, but Jill's not paying attention. And Chucky kicks the bucket of water, and she turns over and sees him standing there. But there's an outlet on the floor where her computer's plugged into, and she gets electrocuted to the point where her eyeball fries out.
Ooh.
And it shorts all the electricity in the house. Right. Nica gets kicked off the internet. She is trying to go upstairs to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. And because she just knows something's wrong after reading all that stuff. Barb is then trying to go check on Jill, but Ian stops her, and they have this back and forth with, her saying shit to him, and he's like, I already know what you've been doing. And and if there's infidelity, then I can get alimony and I can prove it. And she's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You can prove nothing. And he tells her, well, I put a nanny cam inside of Chucky. So I will check it later. He's so sure that he goes to bed.
Yep.
He's like, I can check it in the morning, boo-boo. I'm not even worried about it because I already know you've been sneaking around. So Barb gets upset, and she's going to look for Jill and the doll. She runs into Nica. Nika's like, you have to look out for this doll. There's something weird about this doll. And Barb thinks that Nica is talking about the nanny cam. So Barb goes off on Nica, like, how could you know about this and not tell me? I know we don't get along, but you could at least told me what you knew.
Girl, like, why would she tell you?
I mean, truly. Right. But,
you trying to put her in a home. Like, why would she tell you anything?
But Barb hears someone in the attic. The light is on, so she decides to go upstairs because she thinks it's Alice. She goes upstairs, and throughout this whole time, you see the doll, and it looks like old Chucky, like from the first movie, right? Because the last time we left Chucky, he was scarred up. He had the staples in his hair.
Yep.
So to see this doll, it was refreshing, but you're like, is this a reboot? Like, what happened? Continuity-wise.
Yeah, like when did this story take place?
Right. And she goes upstairs. Chucky's up there. She's checking Chucky's pockets and stuff for the nanny cam, but she doesn't find it. But what she does find is a knife. Which she thinks is very odd. But she sees there's like little crumbly bits around his mouth and his eyebrow. And she picks at it. And it's prosthetic makeup. And it comes off, and you start seeing the stitches. Yeah. And she keeps peeling it off. And she touches his mouth, and he bites at her.
This was a good one.
I love this moment because, like, before this, we only saw Chucky say one phrase to Allison under the sheets. She says, "I'm scared." He says, "You better be."
Right.
But we haven't seen full-fledged Chucky in his element. So he bites at her. He jumps down. She's scared on the floor, and he tells her, like, you have your mother's eyes. And you realize that she was the little girl in the video.
Right.
And he says you have your mother's eyes, they were always too fucking close together. And he stabs her in the eye.
Oh my gosh, right?
Point blank in the eye. And then you hear Nica downstairs. She hears the commotion. She looks over to the attic, and the eyeball is just bouncing down the stairs, which I think is a great callback to The Changeling. It's like one of my favorite horror thrillers of all time.
Yeah.
But then you get this really goofy CGI shot. It's very goofy of Chucky walking down the stairs. It's so stiff. And for them to have used the stunt double, it's the same stunt double they used for Seed and for Bride.
Yeah.
They used her throughout the rest of the movie, but just not for this shot, which I just did not understand.
Yeah.
But Chucky starts walking down the stairs. Nica is freaking the hell out. She rolls into Ian's room to wake him up. Ian sees the commotion. He picks her up and that slow motion run through the house.
Right.
With him, like he's pulling her wheelchair and this is slow motion. Everybody's screaming and
Yeah.
Now, mind you, nobody knows where Allison is at this point still. They just get the fuck out of Dodge, which I think is crazy. Like, he got out first before he got the daughter. Daughter could have sat in Allison's lap and then y'all could have left, but whatever.
Right.
They get to the car. He leaves her there to go find Allison and Jill. Right. And Chucky is behind Nica in the car. And he turns on the car. So now carbon monoxide's in the garage.
Yep.
And she is spazzing out. When Ian comes back, he thinks that this is Nica doing this.
Yep.
Because it doesn't make sense to him. Rightly so.
Yep.
And she starts having really bad chest pains and she has her heart medication and she asks him to open it and give it to her. He doesn't. And she passes out and Chucky's just looking past Ian, looking down at Nica on the ground, laughing.
Yeah. I thought that was messed up. I was like,
right?
Like, what?
Nica comes to and she's strapped to a chair.
Yep.
Has no idea what's going on. Ian tells her, like, you need some help and I want to know what's going on.
Right.
He gets on the laptop and he turns on the Chucky nanny cam and he sees that he hid Allison in a closet and is talking to her. Then it cuts to the live feed and you get the POV of Chucky walking up behind Nica live and Ian. But Ian's too dumb to turn around. When it says live feed, it means it's happening right now. Why he had to lean close to the computer, I have no idea. But it's too late.
Yep.
Chucky comes, like, takes Nika's chair and rolls it at him, and he falls on the ground.
Yep. Oof.
And then we get that great shot of Chucky with the axe chopping his jaw off, which that is a gruesome shot.
It was.
And that was practical. That was a practical effect.
Yeah.
Oh, and his tongue hanging out and the blood gushing.
Oh my God. This movie
Nika's trying to get her hands free. And in the midst of this, Chucky is charging at her with an axe, but Nica gets that one arm free.
Yeah.
And she rolls that chair up and the axe goes straight into her leg bone.
Yeah. Oof.
She can't feel it.
Right. But it still was like,
it was gruesome looking. She can't feel a thing. And the score went so well with the kills because you heard it and you saw it. So when you feel like you feel it, it plays with your senses so well. But Nica is like, okay, can't feel that. And she gets her hands free and she grabs the axe out of her leg and she knocks Chucky's head off, which this is very interesting because this is the first time that we're seeing Chucky get his head knocked off, but there's no blood.
Yeah.
It's just like a regular doll part. It just pops off. So she, do the whole we're relieved thing like we always do.
Right.
And you see the body get up off the floor.
Yes. Oh my God.
And grab the head and like put it back on.
That's why I was like, where's the blood?
Right. It didn't make any sense.
I was so shocked. Like,
it didn't make any sense. And I also do love that scene. It's a minor scene, which is why I skipped over it, but I do have to mention it of when they are in the elevator when the power goes out.
Yeah.
And she's alone with Chucky and it's just breathing. It's so tense. It's just like a good 30 seconds of just breathing.
Yeah.
And the lights pop back on and Chucky's head turns around and starts laughing maniacally. It's a very different laugh than we've ever heard in the series. And even the "Hi, I'm Chucky" is like very minor. You get that you only get it once in the movie. So they try to shake things up a bit. And it seems like I'm going really fast, but that's really how fast the beats of the movie are. It's very much to the point, which I enjoy because I feel like sometimes, like with Seed and Bride, it got very drawn out. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so after Chucky puts his body back together, he runs up behind Nica and he pushes her off of the railing of the second story. And the most beautiful fall since Aunt Maggie. Yeah. I don't know if it's her in the nightgown, if it's all the debris falling around her, if it's the fact that she did a full like 360 flip.
It was a really good shot.
but it was nice and slow-mo. The nightgown is billowy. It feels like Suspiria in a way.
Yeah.
The way she falls. And she smacks that ground. And you get that overhead shot of stunt double Chucky, which they should have used for the first staircase. But you see Chucky walking down the stairs, and it's magnificent overhead shot. And he starts explaining the motive, which is what we've all been waiting for. What does this family have to do with Charles Lee Ray?
Yeah. And this was one of, I would say this was one of the better reveals of why Chucky was doing
it. You get this
whole series, like out the whole franchise, this was one of them.
Because the whole movie, you're asking about the continuity. You're enjoying it, but the continuity just isn't making sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you do a grand reveal, it's supposed to be something that comes together. Like, I appreciate the fact that this movie didn't do like the whole breadcrumb.
Yeah.
They just waited to the end. And I can appreciate that because it made me stick around because I really wanted to know why.
And it wasn't easy to predict this one either.
It wasn't.
We knew that was Charles Lee Ray in the background.
Right.
But for them to tie it all together, it was just magnificent.
Yes. And there's only one bit of it that I don't like, but I'll get there. So you realize Chucky has had this vendetta against the Pierce family because he befriended their father, which is why he was in that home video. But he was obsessed with their mother. Their mother was pregnant with Nica at the time, and Barb was like 4. And they show the flashback of what happened that day where he meets the wife and the daughter, and the dad introduces him, and he's just like so creepy. Under mysterious circumstances, the father dies. So we can already know what happened. We know Charles is the one that did it. More so because at the funeral, he's literally making eyes with her, trying to smile at her and shit. Like, she didn't just see her husband.
Yeah.
It just felt very off. You fast forward from that, and Nica's mom is chained up in a basement surrounded by sunflowers. He brings her flowers for as long as she's down there. Like, he wants her, which I feel like this is the only part that I don't like because it turns him into like a little bit of like an obsessive incel. And that's just not a part of his personality, except with Tiffany. And even then it wasn't obsessive to that point.
Yeah. And it seemed like he had kind of a weird thing about pregnant.
Right.
Around her pregnancy. Like, he was kind of like...
fetishy?
Yeah, very fetishy.
Now, what I will say is I appreciate that Don cleared this continuity up in the TV show because when you get to that scene and she rejects him, the police sirens are on their way and he stabs her in the stomach thinking he's going to kill her, which is why Nica is in the wheelchair in the first place. He's the reason why she can't walk.
That was deep.
Right? So talk about your ammunition, but in the TV show, they clear all this up when they have that scene where Charles and Tiffany are arguing because he's going out without her. And he says, I've got my own life. I've got things to do. Yeah. Clearly he was going to see Sarah.
Yep.
Tiffany probably knew about Sarah because Tiffany's the one that called the police, because before that happened, before the TV show, my number one question was always, well, how did the police even know where he was?
Yes. So
I'm glad he cleared that part up. The only part that I still get shaky on, because he leaves Sarah bleeding, the police show up, and then they cut to the toy store explosion.
Right.
And they redo it, and this whole backstory is in black and white, and it's beautiful. The only thing that's in color is like the sign from the toy store and the sunflowers. So I thought that was beautiful. I love stuff like that. But if Eddie Caputo was driving the getaway car, did he drive him to see Sarah first?
That's what I was wondering.
Because in the TV show, Chucky and Charles and Eddie are friends in the foster home. So they already had that weird connection because Charles had been teaching Eddie how to kill people. So that makes sense. But did he drive him to Sarah first, or did he like say, hey, meet me here so we can go hit this lick? Like, that's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Where does Where does Eddie fit in that night?
Right. Exactly. That's the only thing I wish I could get an answer for. Everything else, I love how they tied it together. I really did. So after he does his exposition, you know, and he tells her, he says, you know, I've killed a lot of families in my day. The Barclays, which is Andy, you know, mom, which he didn't. So I don't even know why he said that. He said the Kincaids. Now, that's Jade and her uncle.
Yeah.
Which when he says, I've been after a lot of families, it makes me wonder if he actually caught up to Jade and Jesse.
Right. We never, because don't nobody walk away usually from Chucky and live.
Right.
Like he likes to tie up loose ends.
Right.
That's what I like. That's one thing I know about Charles D. Ray. He will circle the block.
Yeah, I really had, because I remember I asked that question after Bride, like what happened to Jesse and Jade, and he says, you know, the Kincaids, blah blah blah. So did he catch up to Jade and Jesse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious.
That's one thing I would have loved if they would have did like I like when movies subtly let us know that a past character died.
Right, because
like an article, like a news article, because TV story, you know.
The funny thing is for the longest time when I heard him say that, because he didn't kill Andy's mom, he didn't kill Andy. So the Barclays, I don't know why he mentioned them, but the Kincaids, okay, cool, if you call it to Jay, but he definitely killed Warren.
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time when he said the Kincaids, he was talking about the foster parents.
Oh yeah, what was I forgot what their name was.
He didn't even mention them.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot all about them.
Yeah, he didn't even mention them in his list of people he's taken down. Because you would think he would have added that, right?
He was proud of that because he definitely took them out.
Right. Like, I really would like to know. Let me see what their last name is. I'm curious now, but I always thought it was them. The Simpsons.
Yes.
I don't know if he mentioned the Simpsons. I don't remember him saying anything about the Simpsons, but either or. That's neither here nor there. Yeah. And Nica being the person that she is, because she was going to school for, what was it, psychology? When she was going to school, she says, you have completion anxiety.
Yeah. Ooh,
she starts talking mad shit, even though she can't move. Like, she's crawling. Her back's fucked up. And she's like, yeah, she's like, you didn't kill Andy Barclay.
Right.
She was like, you have completion anxiety. She was like, you know, most men suffer from that. She was like, that and impotence. And Chucky gets pissed off. And what kills me is when she says this. She's like, you still haven't killed Andy Barclay. So this must be the slowest murder in history. I hollered.
I lost it when she said that. She literally went in. Like, at this point we've never seen anybody really like
no.
And I mean hit him with truth.
Except for Tiffany.
Yeah, like Tiffany knew how to get.
But Tiffany was nuts. But like an actual victim, no. Correction. The only other person that got with him like that was Kyle.
Yeah.
But Nika's laughing at him. Now she's on the floor. No working legs, body hurt because she done fell 2 stories.
Yep.
And she's laughing and giggling at him. And he goes, I'm gonna kill you slow. And she said 30-something is gonna be the slowest murder in history. Done. Curtains.
Just roasted him.
Close the casket on me. I was done.
Is all like ego. Like, she is chipping away at his ego because I mean,
she ain't lying.
He ain't really lying. Because I mean, you didn't kill Andy. You didn't kill his mom. The Kincaids, you didn't mention the Simpsons, so it's like,
yeah. And you're just getting around to her mom and her.
Yeah.
But at that moment, the lights come back on, the elevator opens, Nica hauls ass on the booty scoot into the elevator, and she's holding the door closed because the power goes back out. Mm-hmm. And he is slicing her knuckles, and that shit looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
So bad. But she's holding it together, and the knife drops. She gets the knife, and she's stabbing Chucky's body, and just feathers are coming out.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. So freaking strange, right? And the deputy from earlier actually shows up. Mm-hmm. And when he gets there, Nica's there with a knife, covered in blood, bodies everywhere.
And I mean, that's why I'm like, this motherfucking Charles Lee Ray is so smart, because now it looks like she did it.
I'm sorry. I have a hard time with my critical thinking skills thinking a paraplegic could leave bodies all over the house.
Yeah. Yeah. But
you know, our legal system, right?
Yeah. You know, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove. And then if she gets rambling on about a dog,
and especially because the mother died stabbed in the gut and she was the only one there, like, I get it. Mm-hmm. So you get this shot of Nica just looking like completely broken down in this wheelchair in the courtroom, which was what they were going to do with Andy's mom in part 2. So I love that we actually got to see the manifestation of that. Maybe not with Andy's mom, but still we got to see a courtroom with Chucky as evidence. Mm. And they sentenced her to a psych ward. Yep. Right? She's completely out of her mind. She's blaming the doll.
She is like hell bent on saying the doll.
She does not change her story. And they have the rat poison, the knife, the Chucky doll, just everything. And she's like, you know, but she doesn't say anything. They sentence her and they wheel her away. And before she passes the table, she goes, "You didn't kill me." She just starts laughing hysterically. And at that moment, I was like, this is his daughter in real life. Because the way she turned that shit on and laughed so hard.
Yep. And she looks so much like him in that moment that it's like, she is she's a new legacy character.
She was so happy, and she was laughing and smiling. "You didn't get me. Yep. I'm still alive."
Yep. Insane. And they're like, "Get this loony bitch out of here."
Insane, but at peace, because she's like,
"Yep,
I'm straight."
Her whole family is dead, minus the niece.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm good. Like, you can't get me now." Yep. So she thought, but you can't get me now. Yep. Right? And then the deputy that turned her in turns out to be a dirty cop, because he sneaks into the evidence locker. This is how we tie Bride into it. And he gets the doll. He gets in the squad car. Except this is a fully lit parking lot. Yep. And he even says the same thing Detective Bailey says, which is, "Do you have my money?"
Right.
And as soon as he hangs that phone up, Tiffany pops at the back of the squad car and slices his throat open. Now, same kill, different effect, because now we're seeing it just oozing. Yeah. Oozing, leaking, and then the head hits the horn and she pops up laughing. And she's visibly aged as well.
Yeah.
Right? 25 years. Yeah. And at this point, it had been, at least a decade since Bride?
Yep.
And Seed. So, and she says they never learn. And you see her with this package and she's shipping it off. Yep. So you realize this whole time that he's been getting delivered places. So part 3, right? Yep. At this point, Tiffany is Tiffany. Yep. So this whole time she's been sending him around.
Yep. Which is the continuity.
Right.
The continuity is hidden
now until we get to Cult, because then it doesn't make sense, because she's already in the Tiffany doll as well.
Yep.
So it doesn't make sense, but it does at this point. In 2013, it made sense. Yeah. And you see her send this doll off, and it's the funniest exchange when they go, "Do you want to insure it?" And she's like, "No." No. It's not worth anything.
Right.
Steady talking shit.
Yep.
And you see this doll show up, and it's at Alice's grandmother's house. Yep. And Chucky is there, and Alice is excited. "You found me." And he says, "I told you I would find you." Yep. And he's ready to play hide the soul, and she's excited too. And he tells her to close her eyes, and she does. And he's doing the chant, and the camera drifts, and you see the grandmother with the bag over her face.
Right. Nice little ending jump scare. I like
ending jump scare.
I like it. I like it.
So you realize that Chucky's going to succeed. Mm-hmm. Yep. For the first time ever, he finally found a vessel, and there was no one to stop him.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect timing. Yeah.
I loved it. But we get through the credits. Now, the first time I watched this, I did not watch the credits. So I didn't know about this until I was on like this like subreddit or I was on Tumblr, whatever, in the horror pages, and people were talking about it. So I had to go back and re-rent it and watch it during the daytime. But we got to the end credits and you see somebody bring a box to the house, same familiar sized box, and they open the door and it's fucking Andy Barkley.
Like the same,
the real Andy Barkley, looking very delicious with the beard.
I mean, he aged well.
He's a cutie pie. He's still even now in the TV show. He's still a cutie pie.
He's taking good care of himself.
Good care of himself.
He's taking his vitamins.
Definite baby face gangster right there.
He's definitely taking care of himself. Yeah, he looking good.
So he takes the box. The phone rings, and we get this nice little moment where he's talking to his mom.
Yep.
So you realize that him and his mom have a relationship now.
Good.
And you see the picture of him and his mom from the first movie. There's a picture of Kyle when she was a teenager with the hat, golden child hat.
Yep.
And then you see his certificate from Kent Military Academy. So he finished.
They continue. I mean, we tying up. We
in like a 30-second span.
So good.
And his mom is married to Detective Mike Norris because he asked her, "How's Mike doing?"
Yep.
So he's on the phone and the camera pans away from him and you see a knife come out of the box.
Yep.
And cut the box open. It opens. Chucky sits up. Now Chucky turns around and you hear that gun cock, that shotty.
Yeah. Boom.
Right? And he says, "Andy," and he goes, "Play with this." And you just hear that gunshot, and then that's the end, which I thought was the most amazing. I was like, yes, I'm here for whatever Don is doing.
Yeah.
Because you brought it all back.
He know it. I mean, he knows what he is doing. Like, he is good at what he's doing. Like, it was just so good. It was like, and I as well, I didn't know nothing about no like ending post credits, scene. I didn't know about it. So I didn't watch it until years later. And I was like, man, he's good. Like, this was, if I would have been at the movie theater, this would have gotten a standing ovation.
Because this is when Marvel first kicked off.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the 2010s. So Marvel introduced the post-credit scene. We got to give it up to where credits do. Like, people aren't really fucking with Marvel now after Endgame and everything. Yeah. But they really had people sitting in the theater for like an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah. I still do it. I do it now with every movie just in case, because I want to see everything.
Girl, when that Chapter 1 came out, I sat in that theater, and mind you, I went to a matinee, and I was in that fucking dark theater by myself, and I was scared to death, and I sat through that ending sequence just to see a red balloon pop up and nothing else, and I literally sat till the lights turned on.
Yeah.
Just in case there was an ending credit scene.
Just in case.
But
I got to see it.
That should have been in the movie theater. It should have. Because the internet went up. I remember when this movie came out, the internet went ablaze.
Yeah.
Because this was, like I said, that pocket of remakes, because nobody liked Rob Zombie's Halloween. I mean, correction. Hardcore fans appreciated the retelling, but people weren't a fan of how he told it because it's Rob Zombie. He's a rocker. People like Friday the 13th now.
Yeah.
But they hated the remake back then.
I know. And I actually liked it.
I like out of that whole I feel like out of the whole Platinum Dunes package, right? Like, because that's Michael Bay's parent company. I mean, sister company that he owned that did the remakes, because he did Texas Chainsaw, Jessica Biel, which was great.
Yeah.
Right. And then we did Friday the 13th, and then we did Nightmare on Elm Street. I feel like I've always liked the Texas Chainsaw remake, and I love the Friday the 13th remake.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I feel about 2010's Nightmare on Elm Street, but I feel like it didn't get appreciated because people just weren't ready to like let go just yet. Plus, Platinum Dunes had this like really dark, grungy color palette with their directing that I don't think a lot of people got behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dark greens and muddy browns and stuff, because I feel like that's my main complaint with their remakes is that they're too dark.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like people
get it now, but I did not. I wasn't a fan of
I
it.
feel like the only movie that it worked for was Texas Chainsaw, because that's the kind of movie it was. It's a gritty grindhouse movie, even the first one.
Yeah.
But they used it with everything, and it just didn't work. So, yeah, people really hated on Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. People love Texas Chainsaw. But I feel like when Chucky came back out, it was so well done, and it was the same person, and the continuity was there for once, that everyone was ready for more Chucky.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie. When Nate first told me it's a new Chucky movie, I instantly I threw it away because I still had Seed in
Right.
And I was just like, what? They still doing the movie? No, I'm good. He like, for real. You should watch it. I heard it's good. We should watch it. And it was on Netflix at the time. So I was like, okay, we got Netflix. Cool. Let's finally watch it. I think excuse me. I think we might have watched it maybe a month after it kind of dropped on digital and streaming.
Okay.
So we watched it maybe a month after, and I was like, "This was actually good."
I mean, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it scared me, girl. Like,
yeah,
I had to have my ex at the time come over my house at 2 a.m. I was terrified.
Because at the time, I would say it for me. It made me fall back in love with the whole franchise. The way
Absolutely.
Because Bride was like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. And this was a scary movie. There weren't a lot of funny parts. The only part I say that was funny were when they was looking in the camera and the girl had Chucky, and he was like, just keep your fucking mouth shut. Like, of course Chucky, all of his like lines are good because he's so blunt and he don't care. So yes. Of course we but this is a character that we love. And we love Brad Dourif too because he's the voice behind Chucky. So
I will say the look of Chucky was probably a little off for me.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate the retro throwback, but there was just something, not trying to be funny, but Chucky looked a little bit more androgynous.
Mm-hmm. You know how he had you notice how like in the picture behind you, he got a little gap, and I'm like, what did he have?
Like I said, this Chucky looks more similar, but it was the parts where Chucky was talking to Alice where he looked a little bit more feminized to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The hair was a little more bobbish.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a little different, but delicate. That's the word I'm looking for. Chucky looks more delicate in this movie.
Yeah.
In his doll form. Mm-hmm. And I also would have more appreciated, I think the stitching could have been a little bit better with the grand reveal. It didn't look as hardcore as Bride. Like, it looked kind of painted on, I ain't gonna front.
Yeah.
So that's really my only complaint. Like, so just a few continuity areas, but for me, it's like it's airtight. It's a 90% for me. Like, I love it. I will always watch it. Mm-hmm. And then we get to fucking Cult, and we fall off the wagon again. Don,
you think so?
Okay, I'm telling you right now. The best parts of that movie were Andy, Tiffany, and the end. But like the in-between stuff it went back to being wacky again. The special effects were kind of all over the place.
Yeah. It went a little bit off the rails.
It was more comedic again. Like, and I get it because Don is a funny guy. Yeah. But it definitely, I feel like
it definitely
I feel like what holds Child's Play back, because Child's Play is legendary, right? Like, we all love it. I feel like what holds Child's Play back sometimes is the tonal shifts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, 1 minute it's funny, 1 minute it's not, 1 minute it's super serious. Like, every movie's a different tone. Mm-hmm. Like, 1 and 2 were probably the most consistent with the tone. 3 was a little bit more fantastical. Then you have Bride and Seed, which is funny. Mm-hmm. Curse is serious as hell, and then you got Cult, which is just like
kind of in between. Yeah, it's kind of
more. I want to say it's more whimsical. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A little bit more whimsical. Mm-hmm. And not the greatest characters, kind of like with 3.
Yeah.
But everything was better than Seed at this point. So
I mean, that's where I was like, hey,
yeah.
I was like, we're going off the rails a little bit because they started to lose me with the we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll get there. A lot of things A lot of things they introduced in Cult just did not make sense continuity wise.
It literally was like they pulled it out the air. They literally pulled it out the air. And I was like,
I mean, I guess if you're the person writing it, you can retcon at any time.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know, somebody should have been like, hey.
Yeah.
Like, if I was a person that wrote a franchise, right, I would have somebody on the payroll who would just remind me of shit I already wrote.
Yeah.
So stuff like that doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, look, dust that old file off for me real quick and just read this new script and compare it to the stories of the last ones. That'd be their only job, is to just go through my old scripts to make sure my new one matches up. That's worth the price right there.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's why I was like, we going off the rails again, but I was like, hey, I'm here for it.
Oh, I mean, I'm always gonna watch a Chucky movie. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna watch it.
They go stuff in, and what they gonna take us through? Because I mean, Cult got off. It got off the rails.
Yes,
it got off the rails, especially with that damn the therapist guy.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Best thing about that fucking movie is Nica goddamn Pierce. But
yes,
before we wrap this up, this is a short one tonight, like I said, because the movie was just so concrete.
Yeah.
Not really much.
Yeah, and you know, with this movie, there wasn't another storyline we were following.
Yeah.
We had one simple storyline. No no other characters that we're gonna watch them. No.
It was very concise. Like, he just gave it to us beat for beat, no extra bullshit.
Yep.
And I can appreciate that off the back of watching so many of these, that you get one that's just like
Yep.
Right, especially when you're reviewing them. But of course, in true Nisi fashion, we're gonna go into some trivia about Cult of Chucky. So I think it's very funny that Don Mancini has said himself, they added the phone call with Tiffany and Andy in Cult because they didn't have any scenes together. People really wanted to see them together. Now, what I find fascinating, I did not know this. I don't know where I was, probably working myself to death. But it said 2 weeks before the film officially was released, it was leaked in its entirety to Twitter and YouTube.
What?
Yes. In response to the leak, Don Mancini tweeted, "To the geniuses who leaked Cult of Chucky and tweeted about it, congrats. Not only are you terrible people, now Universal lawyers know who you are." Alex Vincent went on record stating that he didn't understand the logic of leaking it since the movie would be available to watch on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right. Some more extra trivia here is that Don Mancini says that Andy's well off financially because he got insurance money during the Good Guys cover up.
Okay.
Right. I'm trying to think of anything else. Anything else? Any noteworthy? Apparently, he gave all the Chuckies a subtle difference to help differentiate them, so they had different nicknames like Bud's Cut, Ragamuffin, Edwardian, and Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. They tried to kind of liken this to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which of course Brad Dourif was also in.
Yes, subtle nods. I love
that was his actual first movie.
I love the call that they do.
Like,
the only other like franchise I know that's done that, they do little subtle like winking the guns to the audience, is Wes Craven. I know he does that with
a lot, yeah.
Movies and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that. He, like, I will never forget. Was that Scream? Which one was the one where I think it was the very first Scream where
he was Freddy Krueger?
Yes. I literally cannot get over that. It like clearly is the dude with the sweater, and that's actually what's.
Yeah, it's actually fucking him.
That was him. Like, he be making cameos in his movies, and I love it. I like trying to spot him. Like, where's Waldo?
Yeah. So they gave one of the Chuckies a buzz cut as a homage to Child's Play 3 when he was in the barber chair.
Yeah.
It's no secret that Andy has PTSD. And this is the first movie since 2 to actually feature Andy as a lead character, of course.
Oh yeah.
And he's also was planning to have Glenn and Glenda return in this movie, but it just didn't play out, which is why he had them in the TV show.
And I'm glad he did it. You know, Tom Mancini, he don't get rid of old ideas that he had. Like, he will still use them.
Yes.
Just come back around to him. And I'm so glad that the stars aligned and he was able to give us a TV show, because we can get longer versions of this. Like,
yes. Now this
the little stories that he wanted to put out, he's actually putting them in there. Because Glenn and Glenda, man, having them show up as teenagers, or was they kind of grown? Was they teenagers too? It was kind of grown.
Now here's an interesting one that I'm going to leave you guys with before we wrap up. Now, apparently, at this time when the movie came out, Don Mancini did a interview with Bloody Disgusting. He wanted to do a Child's Play that was on a train.
Okay.
After this one, and then he also was trying to get a crossover with A Nightmare on Elm Street off the ground.
This made me mad when I heard about this possible crossover that we never will get.
Now, Don says, and I quote, I would like to do Freddy and Chucky just because I think they would be fun double act. I'm more interested in the characters. My pitch for Freddy versus Chucky is Child's Play on Elm Street. Chucky ends up in some kid's house on Elm Street, and Chucky and Freddy inevitably meet in the dreamscape. Chucky does sleep. Why not? Chucky sleeps, Chucky dreams, and they have admiration for each other, but they quickly realize that Elm Street isn't big enough for the two of them. So a riff on Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, they have a contest of who can kill the most teenagers before the sun comes up. Now that sounds fucking hilarious.
And we will never probably get that.
We will never get that, but I would love to see it.
Because Robert Englund has actually retired from Freddy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's 80.
He is actually factually retired. And I don't think, Brad Dourif is up there, but he's up there too. So
I'm just saying, Robert Englund's 80, guys. We have to just let that man rest.
He wants, that's all he want to do. He's given us the last damn near 40 years.
That's what I'm saying. He is traveling, meeting his fans. That's all he wants to do before he dies.
Listen, I keep saying it. I really want to
meet. I found out something very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Freddy, before we go, because I love Freddy. I'm a Fredhead. So, how there is a Nightmare on Elm Street Robert Englund merchandise, and then there's a Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 merchandise.
Ew, they got the 2010 merchandise?
Yeah, just a silhouette. How they have when you see some Freddy merchandise and it's just the silhouette of Freddy, or it's just the title.
Yeah.
But then you have some that actually has Robert Englund's face on it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because he sued New Line.
Really?
And he sued distributors because they were using his likeness and he wasn't getting a cut. So now, this has been some years ago. So now, anytime you buy something with his actual face on it, he gets paid from it. If you buy something with just the silhouette of him or just the title, he doesn't get paid from that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. I feel like he should get paid from all of it, because what the hell?
I mean, at this point in time, we're all well aware that they are trying to get this shit off the ground again. I know there was a fake story a few weeks ago that Blumhouse had greenlit some script or they had acquired it, but apparently that was some fake shit.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of rumblings about a lot of different shit going on.
But we know it's coming because they had the same rumblings during the Friday the 13th court case. Right. And now we're getting that show on Peacock, which I will be watching and I probably will be reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that just go the Freddy's Nightmares route and just give us some really good Elm Street stories.
Yeah. I
the way they're doing Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Or they going back to for it, they going Derry,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Just do that.
Okay with that.
Because I am probably one of the few people that still watches Freddy's Nightmares because it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
It's still good. I don't care. I know it's cheesy. It's still good to me.
It holds up to me. I'm like, hey, it's new. It's new to me because I ain't really see it all like that back in the day. So
yeah, we were little as fuck. So yeah, being able to see it, and then not only that, but seeing Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah.
I love her. So like seeing her in one was great, and Lori Petty and shit. But like, yeah, like I feel like they were on the right track with Freddy's Nightmare. It's just bad execution. But you could take that. It doesn't have to be Crypt Keeper style, but you can take the idea of the families of Elm Street and the hauntings. Because that episode, the first episode, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
And then the episode where they went back to the twins.
Oh yeah.
Was amazing. Amazing.
Yep.
I just hope they do. I hope they just go the TV show route. I feel like right now we're in a TV show realm.
We are.
Isn't that what Gail said? Like it's all about the true crime.
It's all about the true crimes. It's all about the series. You know, the limited series. It's all.
Now, what I will say is, if you are trying to digest more Freddy content, the next thing that you should probably pick up is Dylan's New Nightmare.
Dylan's New Nightmares. I did hear about that.
Yes, Dylan's New Nightmare. It's a short, right? And it does have Miko Hughes in it. So the little boy from Part 7, he's actually Dylan.
Okay.
And it has David McRae as Freddy. And I'm trying to tell you, like, if there was ever a person that should be Freddy, it would be David McRae. Now, I follow David McRae on YouTube because he has a podcast himself.
Okay.
It's like two guys and bullshit or some shit like that. But he does a lot of different franchises, Michael Myers, all that stuff. And he produced his own short called It's Me, Billy, which is based off of Black Christmas. So if you're not following Dave McRae, like you need to, because he's really good. And I feel like if he gets some real backing behind him, I think he's gonna be that guy. But his Freddy is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, Dylan's New Nightmare. I know. I'm not sure if the short is already out or not. Is it out?
I haven't heard anything more about it. I know earlier this year there were talks about it, but I hadn't seen any kind of release date or streaming platform, or no date was given, no month or
yeah. I know it's supposed to be coming out soon because the last time I heard about it, which I'm looking at, was in July. I'm on Screen Rant right now.
Okay, so maybe they're waiting for like spooky season,
maybe. But like I said, I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most when it comes to that, because we've always wanted to see, you know, Dylan again. But like I said, seeing the trailer and seeing Dave McRae or whatever doing Freddy, I mean, the makeup is on point.
Okay.
He sounds very close to Freddy.
Okay. Cool.
You know what I mean? I really, really think they need to just go ahead and just be like, all right, we need to get this guy, because the hype around Dylan's New Nightmare has been for like the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that.
I haven't seen. I'm gonna have to go look up the
trailer. The trailers.
I kind of, when I heard about it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm excited about this. And then when I heard it was like a fan. It was like fan artwork or something like that. Then my interest kind of, it went back down. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe.
But I feel like if you, like I said, I gotta find his podcast and I'll tell you guys the name of it. But the podcast is great. Like I said, when I was going through like all the Michael Myers stuff when the 2018 hype was out, that's who I was really following, because he was doing like stuff like damn near every day.
Okay.
But he's really informative, really funny. He's got 28,000 subscribers. Like I said, he's known, but he's not known. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what the it's levels to the subscriber gang. You know? If you ain't got, it's people who got 1 million, and then the little, 20,000, 30,000. That's smaller. You know what I'm saying? So
right, yeah. So like I said, he's on the smaller side, but he's done so much that you just probably don't even know about.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Dylan's new. He just put a video out 8 days ago, dressed as Freddy. Dylan's New Nightmare will release Thursday, August 31st at 9 a.m. PST and 12 p.m. EST on the Horror Show YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. So that's coming up.
Right. And like I said, I just feel like you should definitely watch It's Me, Billy, because that was a really good movie that he did. But yeah, so tomorrow at noon, Dylan's New Nightmare will be dropping.
Okay.
It's a Horror Show channel.
Cool.
So I need to go ahead and set my timer for that now.
Oh, right. I gotta set a line. Like a reminder about that, for real.
Because that honestly might have to pop up after this Child's Play wraps up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go there right now, subscribe, and set my little notification. And yeah, I'm ready for this.
Yeah, let me do the same thing.
Because we owe y'all.
I will forget. What'd you say it was called?
It's the channel is called the Horror Show Channel.
Okay. The Horror Show Channel. Okay. There we go.
They said he made It's Me, Billy, a Black Christmas fan film 2 years ago. It's got 60,000 views. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and he is actually talking about putting out a chapter 2.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, if you follow Cody Leach, if you follow Drum Dums, if you follow the Slaughtered Lamb podcast, they're all like really close with Dave McCrae, and they speak highly of his work as well. As how I found him.
Okay.
But he also does a lot of interviews as well. So, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that with the Freddy content. Okay. And we are literally down to just 2 more movies. We've got Cult and we've got the remake.
That remake. Ooh. I'll try not to take a dump on the remake, but
yeah, so that's on the docket. So we've got Cult, we've got the remake, and then we'll get into It's Dylan's New Nightmare.
Yep.
And then we'll get into Carrie. That's the next 4 on the docket. Because you wanted to do the compare and contrast for the remake.
Yes. I my interest. Carrie is a movie I totally forgot about, and I want to get into it because I ran across a TikTok, came on my For You page saying how Carrie was not the villain. And
no, she wasn't.
I said, you know what? I feel like Carrie, everybody felt like Carrie was very justified in everything she did. I've never seen anybody have that take of like, she shouldn't have done that. So I cannot wait to talk about that. And Billy.
I love that. I love that for her.
Yeah, like it was so good. And we'll get into comparing the original that was from the 70s and then the newer one that came out. Because I didn't hear much. I didn't hear good things about the remake. So we'll get into all that though. But I'm excited for what we have on we got our schedule down. I feel like we out here like what's the name? Dead Meat. They got their schedule.
I know. But I'm telling you right now, I'm literally on the Libby app right now. And if you don't know about the Libby app, get the Libby app. Stop using Audible, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to be that person. Get on the Libby app, download it, link your library card, get your ass a library card, and there's like thousands upon thousands of books that you can either listen to or read for free.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'm going to be borrowing Carrie because I'm going to read the book as well.
Yes. And the books are always...
Because like the book is so good.
They tone a lot down when it comes to like putting stuff on film. But the book lays everything out.
The book is so fucking good that I need to do it. And of course, everybody has this shit on hold. I'm gonna just go to the damn library and get the motherfucking paperback because y'all really out here playing. 16 weeks. 6 weeks. Y'all playing. Yeah, I'm just go to the library and read it. I'm gonna force myself to read every night.
Okay.
Because I've read the book.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time. Like I was in high school when I read Carrie.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, which I forgot about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be something interesting for us to talk about. That'll be.
I feel like if we're going into spooky season, I really do feel like Stephen King is where it's at.
I mean, he's the OG.
If you want to give fall to Stephen King, I'm with it because he got tons of material.
He does, and I mean, he has hard copies.
Because I mean, we could go Carrie, Langoliers, the State. Like, we could go. I'm fine with that. I will dedicate my October to Stephen King.
Yeah, because he's good. That guy's good.
That boy good.
Good.
But all right, guys, we love you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you to our new followers and likes. Thank you to our new subscribers on YouTube. We see y'all watching us, like for real, for real.
happening? I'm like, I don't know how it's happening, but it's
happening. I don't know. And definitely shouts out to Missy, because I didn't even know she was watching, and she just told me today she'd be like watching, and I was like, oh
yeah.
my heart.
Yeah. We appreciate you, girl.
We really appreciate y'all. We just be out here clowning, having fun. We love horror. We're not fancy. I feel like maybe one day when we blow up, as Jamie Foxx would say, we'll do the whole big deal with the studios, blah, blah, but for right now, for us, what's near and dear to our heart, we just two bitches that love horror.
That's it. And I mean, like all year round. That's why you see what I put on our page of like, yeah, spooky season is starting for y'all, but it really never ended.
Because I'm self-proclaiming us the horror hoochies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's like the hoochie is like the 90s word. Like we're,
Yeah.
Like we're horror hoochies. Like just pour it on me. I was cracking up because I saw that you liked it on my TikTok of me doing that damn the ghost face thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why when everybody's doing the animatronics, but for some reason when I heard that shit, all I thought about was Tatum.
That's it.
It's all I thought about. It probably don't make sense to nobody, but it made sense to me because I was like, this is some shit Tatum would do.
Absolutely.
Who the fuck is you?
Freaking Lutely. Yes, I love it. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. We under an hour and a half.
Yes, and don't forget, we love you guys so much, and we want you to get this content. And if you missed all the live, if you got a bit or a piece, head on over to that YouTube Horror Talks with CMA and like and subscribe and catch up. We got playlists for Child's Play. Boop, boop, click, click. You get all of them in a row, and we are always uploaded before midnight, so you can check us out at your leisure. We love you.
Yep.
And we're going to catch y'all next week for Cold.
Yep. See us next week.
Bye.